Coming up on live news, turkey sandwiches and stealth preparing for B-2 bomber missions. Steve Kanashi breaking down the state of New York's mayoral race on primary day. Not NATO chief Mark Rutte praises Donald Trump for making Iraq pay in a big way, and the Democratic power struggles fuels New York City mayor's race. I'm John Bloxian from our news stations here in New York. This is Live News. Good evening. Welcome to Live News. We are showing you live from our news stations here in New York City, which is home to the 24-hour edition of Live News. I'm John Bloxian. Turkey sandwiches and stealth preparing for B-2 bomber missions. Before strapping into the cockpit of the United States Air Force B-2 Spirit stealth bomber for missions that can stretch beyond 40 hours, pilots undergo weeks of preparation that not only focuses on flight plans, but what to eat. The B-2, a $2 billion flying Wood-built North Grumman NOCM plan played a key role in delivering strikes on Iran's nuclear sites on Saturday. It demands extraordinary experience from its two-person crew that starts understanding how nuclear effects of enemies and their siege during intercontinental flights that span nearly 2 days. We don't have any more information, but we do have some other news here. Steve Kornacki breaking down the state of the New York City mayor race in primary day. The final polls paint different pictures of a potential Democratic primary result between Andrew Cuomo and Zohran Mamdani. The final public poll suggests the potential for Tuesday's New York Democratic mayor primary, an outcome that will be dramatic, but also might end up resolving nothing. The answer to college, WBTIX, and the Hill survey shows former government Andrew Cuomo leading the state opposite salary to 36% and 30 to 34%. Few conferences in order. First, the public polls in the campaign has been sparse. Only Emerson and Marius has been regularly conducting them, and Marius' final poll found a different result, with Cuomo by double digits at the both start at the end of the ranked choice preparation. Here is live footage of that. Let me get that real quick. Hold on, the ad is
going into it.
It's an ad. 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 Wait for it to end. Golly. It's an ad. I'm sorry. It's an ad. It's an ad. It's an ad. Yeah,
right. Assemblyman, thanks so much for being
now. Now, this is a live interview from MD.
Joining me now is New York State Assemblyman and New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani. Assemblyman, thanks so much for being here. First, I want to start with the scenes out of Southern California over the weekend and into today. We now have this news that the president has mobilized Marines to be on the ground there. This after ICE raids in Los Angeles County. This is something that could easily happen in New York City. How would you be handling this situation if you were the mayor?
I would be calling it what it is, which is authoritarianism. This is yet another example of Donald Trump seeking to rip the fabric up of our cities and our countries, of attacking immigrants across this nation, as well as the very notion that so many of us Americans hold dear when we think about our Constitution. And we need to have a mayor that can look authoritarianism in the eye and not see a reflection of himself. And as the first immigrant mayor of this city in generations, I will do exactly that. I will stand up for the people of this city and make it clear to Donald Trump that he will find no collaborator here that he has found in Eric Adams.
So what should New York City be doing right now?
I think right now what we need to do is continue to follow the example of leaders across the country, including one that I'm so proud to have been endorsed by, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, in actually fighting for the things that we believe in and making it clear that in deploying the National Guard, Donald Trump is not only reversing the clear precedent where governors ask that of the president as opposed to the president imposing that upon a governor, but also that Democrats finally stand up and make it clear that this is not something that has any consent of anyone beyond the White House in Washington, D.C.
You have in the past called for abolishing ICE. As mayor, would you try to block the agency from conducting any actions in New York City? And how could you even make that possible?
Well, I think you can just look at the example of ICE raids that are happening here in New York City, because while we are not seeing the scale of deployment that we've seen in Los Angeles, we still are seeing New Yorkers being disappeared and detained, whether from their apartment building lobby or whether they're going for a routine immigration check-in at Federal Plaza. And too often under Eric Adams, we've seen NYPD units like the Strategic Response Group be deployed to assist in those kinds of arrests as they then arrest individuals like pastors who are just observing this clear attack on immigrants across this city.
But let's say you're the mayor and you do pull back from that cooperation that's happening right now with the federal government. Are you worried about retribution from the Trump administration?
I think what we're seeing right now is that retribution exists no matter how you respond to the Trump administration. Eric Adams is collaborating at almost every juncture he can find with this administration, and still New Yorkers are being detained, and still they're taking $80 million from our municipal budget, and still they attack the fabric of our city. So clearly surrender has not won us much. It's actually time to fight back, and we've seen the most successful examples of fighting back against Donald Trump in those that are willing to do so. And we don't have to look so far, even in the Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum, who's exhibited that through strength, we can actually win back the city that we love.
We heard a line from you at your recent debate. You said that you would be President Trump's worst nightmare. Tell me what that looks like in practice.
You know, I'm a Muslim progressive immigrant who actually fights for the things that I believe in. And Donald Trump is used to career politicians who he can simply influence through the fact that they all have the same donors. And we know that when it comes to Andrew Cuomo, so many of the people bankrolling his super PAC are the ones who put Donald Trump back in the White House. If Donald Trump wants to call me through my donors, he can call the more than 20,000 people who have ensured that we've broken fundraising records as we've stormed into second place.
Governor Cuomo has countered
We interrupt our broadcasting here, but we do have some live breaking news we want to share you today. Can we get that up? We do have some live breaking news we want to share with you during this time of today's broadcasting on live news. Repeat, this is a live news breaking news. Give me a sec. This is a live news breaking news. All right, we are bringing you live news broadcastings here from our studio in New York City. We do have breaking news I want to share you tonight. Israel and Iran enter shaky ceasefire as Trump accuses both violations, bringing the uncertain stop to 12 days of fighting. The ceasefire in immediate trouble as both sides traded accusations of attack shortly announcing a start. President Donald Trump, who announced the ceasefire Monday evening. Let's take a look. Hold on. It's an ad. Okay. Now, Israel and Iran launched big shooting attacks on each other overnight as a deadline for truce. 12-day between Israel has caused at least 6,100 lives, and then at least 974. Let's take a look at what Trump has to say.
I'm not sure they did it intentionally. They couldn't rein people back. I don't like the fact that Israel went out this morning at all. and I'm going to see if I can stop it. Israel, as soon as we made the deal, they came out and they dropped a load of bombs, the likes of which I'd never seen before. The biggest load that we've seen. I'm not happy with Israel. You know, when I say, okay, now you have 12 hours, you don't go out in the first hour and just drop everything you have on them. So I'm not happy with them. I'm not happy with Iran either. These guys got to calm down. It's ridiculous. We basically have two countries that have been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what they're doing. Do you understand that?
Apparently, U.S. did strike Iran with a missile strike earlier, and the ceasefire has been announced. When we go off the break, we'll continue about our headlines today. But first, here is your live weather powered by WeatherScan Local. Welcome back to Live News. Our two final headlines for today. NATO Chief Mark Rutte praises Donald Trump for making Europe pay in a big way. NATO Secretary Mark Rutte. NATO Secretary Mark Rutte has praised Donald Trump for making Europe pay in a big way on increased defense spending in a private message that the U.S. president shared on his social media platform, Twitter. Donald, you have driven us to a really important moment for America and Europe around the world. Rutte wore ahead of a NATO summit that brings on Tuesday, referring to the U.S. president's demand that all allies to commit raising defense spending to 5% of GDP. The NATO Secretary General also praised Donald Trump's decisive action in Iran that was truly extraordinary and something no one else dared to do. A NATO official confirmed in the message's authenticity. What you are seeing right now is the message that I'm sharing right now about the situation. Now let's get back to our final news headline for today. Let's get to our final news headline for today. The Democratic power struggles fuels in the New York City mayor's race. As its core, the race can be boiled down to an old guard of moderates running against younger immigrant candidates with ambitions, often expensive ideas. It's the same dynamic that will likely play across the country over the next few years. Well, that's it for me for Newsnight. We thank you all for watching our program for today, and thank you all for watching our news. Cabri will be taking the opportunity for news flow as the debut for Brian Ford's live stream news 24/7. Brian Ford's live stream news now, making Brian Ford's live stream news now is making its debut with its 24/7 live coverage. And Brian Ford's live stream, also known as Cabri, will kick off the News Now Corporation with news flow. As of today, I'm John Littleblocksy, and thank you all for watching Live News. Good night. Don't forget, after this, it's live weather. From all of us here at New York City, good night.